This is a Gradowski of We Are Change.org here in the barrios of Caracas, Venezuela. We are here in the murder capital of the world. I am joined by the one and only Jeff Berwick of the Dollar Vigilante. We're here in this insane country run by insane people under really crazy conditions, and one of those conditions is hyperinflation. The currency here has been devalued 93% within the last 2 years alone. And Jeff, before telling us what's happening here, show us how much money do we even have here?
We're rich, bitches. This is about $60. Every stack is about $10, and that actually has been going down by about 100%, 100 to 300% per month now. So this is $10 now. It will be in about, actually that's $5. The bigger stacks are 10. Next month it'll be $5. The month after that will be $2, and it's deep hyperinflation here.
Now the government is obviously overprinting a lot of its money, devaluing the value and worth of it. And you said that they're blaming a website because of this?
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. All hyperinflations are caused by central banks printing too much money, but all central banks always say it was never them, it was some other reason. If you look back through hyperinflation with the Weimar Republic, for example, it was the bankers and the economists, even when they'd printed 1,000,000 times the money supply in a couple years, said it was because there just wasn't enough money in the economy still, they had to do it, or the economy was causing problems, the money wasn't moving around fast enough. So the reason here is the exact same reason as every other time. The government spent way too much, so this goes back to Chavez, who, when oil started going up in price, they had a lot of money. This is a very oil-based economy here in Venezuela. Then they nationalized it, and then they spent a ton of it and stole a lot of it. Chavez's daughter, I believe, is worth $20 billion now. I don't know where she made that money other than it was all stolen. So they spent most of the money, and then now the oil prices started to go down. So now in order to keep spending a lot of the money, and a lot of these go to really building little shacks like we are here, like they help build poor people some really crappy shacks. That's where it goes to, and then they don't have any money to pay for it, so they keep printing and printing, and now it's gone into printing so much that the value, we are at the restaurant and they change the prices on the menu every week.
Yeah, I mean, we're just seeing huge, insane lines for basic necessities because the government has set price controls on things like toilet paper, so poor people could afford them, but the companies can't actually import them, can't actually produce them for the cost because they inflated the currency so much. And the black market, of course, is thriving, and you could just meet anyone here in Venezuela, give them a couple dollars, and they give you pretty much all of this, and you have to walk around with just shopping bags full of money to buy just basic necessities, which is just utterly insane. And obviously crime is also a huge issue here in Venezuela, but most importantly I want to talk to you about what's happening in the United States, because you just showed me a sneak peek of your video. It's really well done, just an amazing video. The link to it is going to be in the description below, but you talk about a lot of the things that are happening in the United States. There's a movie that just came out called The Big Short, which was a really fascinating, amazing movie, and it pretty much highlights how after the 2008 financial crisis, how the problem was never solved. The bubble just got bigger, and it's going to pop once again. The government was hiding with ratings agencies how horrible the housing market was in 2007. The housing market really was crashing in 2007. They were artificially holding it and lying to the people, and then in 2008 it finally just blew up in everyone's faces. They paved over it with more debt, with more lies, with more just insane government policies. So what do you think is going to happen in the United States with this huge bubble that we're all facing?
Well, I've been saying since 2010, when I started the Dollar Vigilante, that sometime between 2015 and 2020, we'll see a complete and total collapse of the U.S. dollar and all fiat currencies. And we hit 2015 last year, and I put out a video actually in the summer of last year while we were actually in Austria at Bilderberg conference. I was finishing that one, so it's good timing. We're now in Venezuela. I'm finishing up this one. It should be out today, probably be up by the time this is up. Talking about how I expected, due to some timing that I've discovered about the financial elites, how they would begin the collapse in September of last year. And we actually saw in late August of last year markets start to collapse all over the world. And so that was the beginning. And then I just started to discover more and more about their timing. And this is actually a jubilee year. It happens once every 50 years, actually 49 years. And the elites have already been talking about it. Not Walter White, that's Breaking Bad. William White of the Bank of International Settlements said this is a jubilee debt, a debt jubilee. And many others have started talking about it. They're planning to do a planned implosion of the economy by this fall of 2016. And so you talked about 2008 and what happened there. That was just one step of many, many steps of too much debt, too much government, and too much central bank money printing and manipulation of the interest rates, hollowing out the economy to the point where it's near collapse. 2008, it almost collapsed, and all they've been doing since then is printing more money and going into more debt. So the world's much more indebted. The U.S. government has almost doubled its national debt since 2008. That should be a wake-up call. So it's now at $19 trillion. So if they allowed interest rates to rise, that's why we're headed towards 0% and negative interest rates, because if they allowed it to rise to its natural level and it reached around 10%, for example, at $19 trillion, that'd be almost $2 trillion per year in interest payments alone, which is the entire tax extortion base of the U.S. government.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your information, Jeff. I really definitely appreciate it. Here in Venezuela, we're seeing the effects of just insane government policy and banking policy come to fruition. And from what we experienced and what you're going to be seeing on this YouTube channel as well as Jeff's YouTube channel, is not pretty, especially with everything we have seen here in Venezuela. Check out Jeff's link in the description below. Thank you again so much for watching. Subscribe. We're going to have a lot more content coming here your way on youtube.com/wearechange.